Oh, good. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev with me, DJ Q Macro. Another episode of our exciting series, Back to Basics with Cap Node.js. Welcome everybody. Chanakya, welcome. Good morning. Thanks for the question. It's always good questions from everybody here. And this one was particularly interesting in that Chanakya, you brought up a really good point about the hexagonal architecture upon which a lot of the design of the CAP framework is based. It shows to me, a very experienced set of principles that CAP sits upon from the original designer and all the team. It's pretty cool. Good morning, Javier, and ready for some hands-on SAP, hands-on session. Barcelona is getting hot, but they will not stop me to learn more from DJ Adams. Well, actually, Javier, over here in the northwest of England, it's very cold, and that's why I've got this top on, this extra top. It's been raining and cloudy and raining and thunder and lightning. It's just ridiculous, and I'm getting no solar, so I had to actually run the engine on my narrowboat yesterday for about an hour to put some juice back in the leisure battery. I run lithium ion for my internals, for fridge and laptop and screen and everything. So yeah, the weather's been horrendous. But anyway. And welcome, buongiorno to Chiara, good morning to you, and Sudarshan, good morning, Sudarshan B. I'm guessing that's the same Sudarshan B who has been very active in this month's Developer Challenge. Remind me in a second to talk a little bit more about that. Well done, Sudarshan, and welcome to our good friend Matthias Lakemper in Dortmund, and good morning, Rafael, to you in Poland. And so Javier says here is 26 degrees but feels like 30. Here is, I think, probably 15 degrees but feels like 12. So yeah, welcome to my life at the moment. Yup, that's me, says Sudarshan. Antonio, good morning to you in Madrid. Thank you for everyone for joining. So yeah, let's get started. I've got my coffee. Yeah, I don't know about the time, but I'm up. I'm an early riser. So I'm up usually around 5 a.m. and I didn't go for a run this morning for reasons, but I was messing about and getting things ready and tidying things up, and I hope to try to get everything ready by 7:30 in the morning, half an hour before we go live. And this time I did remember to put the microphone, to move the Blue Yeti microphone over. There, let me just move there. There it is there. Last week, I forgot to move the microphone, the boom arm over, and the sound wasn't as good. Anyway, and all of a sudden I was making the coffee. It's like, oh my goodness me, it's 8:57. What? Come on, DJ. What? So anyway, Victor, good morning to you. Good morning. No, good morning at all. Good evening to you in Mexico, and welcome, Uma Chala. Hi, good DJ. Good morning to you, and Yaroslav. Good morning to you. Amazing. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm going to have one slug of coffee. And yeah, let's switch to the main scene. There we go. Might as well. I posted. Have I posted? Did I put it in the chat? No, I don't think I did. Let me put that link there. Put in the chat. Bang. So that is where, of course, as many of you regulars know, that's where I share all the links that we look at, links to resources that we look at during this session. So I'll update this if there's any more to share, but at the moment I thought I'll put the SAP Developer News in there. So that's one of the features, the main feature of the SAP Developer News this week is that Tom, aided and maybe abetted by Casimir the kitten, is telling us all about SAP TechEd, the SAP TechEd Virtual, and the sort of the follow-on events as well, and also the way that this year Devtoberfest wraps around 2 weeks before TechEd, then TechEd Virtual Week, and then 2 weeks after wraps around the TechEd Virtual event. So that's all about that. So there's SAP Dev. So the latest task. How many? I can see some folks in here recognise. Obviously, I've mentioned Sudarshan that are aware of and are participating in this month's SAP Developer Challenge. The latest task, the fourth task, task number 3, obviously, is out. Came out yesterday. You know, it's a fairly easy one, and so if you have not had a look at this already, I would strongly encourage you to do so, because I think it's a little bit of fun. So, in fact, I'm going to Sudarshan put in the chat what your thoughts are on, and I'm not saying please say nice things. I'm not asking you to say nice things. I'm just asking you to say what your thoughts are. Do you like it? What's interesting about it? Why people should do the challenge? Please, Sudarshan, put something in the chat. Good morning, Naseem, to you in India. Amazing. So that's that. There's a link there as well. There's the link there. Latest task and everything. By the way, another thing came out. Where is the link here? We're doing these YouTube shorts, sort of, you know, to consume on your mobile phone. And we pushed out one on Wednesday, 2 days ago, all about the REPL, because we on the live stream here, we know about the REPL. We've, you know, taken our first footsteps in the REPL and everything. We might even be using it today. Who knows? Who knows? So check the playlist out. The latest one is this one that came out Wednesday, like I say. And finally, what was the last thing? Oh no, we're going to be looking at. I think we looked at this last week or week before. This is probably this querying in JavaScript is probably what we're going to want to refer to, if we do need to refer to anything, during the course of this live stream, because this is all about constructing and making queries. That's, of course, you know, select, insert, update, upsert, delete, etc. Not directly in CQL. Remember, not directly in core query language or CDS query language, but in the sort of the micro language within Node.js, within JavaScript. So this is using CDSQL, right? CDSQL, Taylor constructing queries, right? And we've been doing that. Select dot from dot columns dot where dot whatever. Okay, so that's a reference to that there. So let's get on with it. Also, before I say let's get on with it and then go digress again. Put in the chat as well whether you, because Andrew Barnard, who is also a good friend of this channel and good friend of this this show, Hands on SAP Dev Show, said in the oh yeah, let me show you. Let me go to the thing here. Latest task. I can get to go to the latest task URL here, which is a discussion thread on SAP and the SAP community platform. But then also there's always at the top of the task is a link to the main challenge blog post, which describes all the, you know, the whole thing. And then I said at the bottom here something like, oh God, DJ, you write a lot of rubbish, don't you? Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see the request test script. And Andrew at the bottom said, yes, I would like to see your request test script in the blog post. So maybe we should look at that here, because it might be easier to show you here first of all. Let me know if you want to see the request testing, which is the mechanism I use. Let's open another and go to the 2407. There we go there, and in here we are in the I'm doing a sample thing. I've got this request test mechanism. Okay, CD sample. This is, I'm playing along with you, for example. I can say testing remote request test, and I can do all sorts of tests, right? Okay, anyway, if you want to see that, let me know. Right, so let's just check everything's okay. Yes, everything seems to be okay. Amazing. So let's start. Where did we leave off last week? Ulrich, good morning to you. Good morning to you in Frankfurt, if I remember correctly. Welcome to you in Frankfurt. Hope the weather's better over there than it is here. I wonder if Zahid is on today and what the weather is like in Solihull. Shubshankar, good morning. Good morning to you. And a nice picture of sunrise there. Good afternoon, Ajay. Yes, in Frankfurt, no weather. No, weather is bad. Okay, at least we're, okay, that's good. It doesn't make me jealous then. Fantastic. Ajay, good morning, my lovely friend and colleague Ajay in India. Okay, where we left off last week. I'm looking at my watch. I always check the time of my watch here. and I put it under my screen, but it's quite dark under there. I can't see the screen. I'll move it there so I can see it. There we go. It's just in a bit of light there. 810. There we go. 810. Can you make video on media file handling? Are you talking about the attachments, for example? Maybe in the future. I mean, at the moment, I'm trying to push through the back to basics. There's all sorts of ideas that we could cover in CAP. But it's probably going to be, realistically speaking, it's probably going to be next year now that we do, point coverage of specific things, because you've got a lot of other things, a lot of other cool things planned for you. Ecuador, Freddie, good morning to you in Ecuador. Oh my goodness me! This, by the way, do you know? Anyway, no, I'm going to digress even more. So, welcome, Freddie. Welcome, Fred. Did you know? Right. So let me just collapse that. Sorry, change to there we go. Fine. Right. So. We've got this whole idea here. Where would we start here and then say listening? Oh yes, one thing I did do, I think offline, is I use here which curl JSON. I use a little mechanism here, JSON, to basically invoke curl with all the parameters, and it put silent on because I like it nice and quiet, and then invokes JQ to print it. Okay, so I thought I'd bring that in here as well. I'm not sure whether I've saved it into the container definition, into the Docker container image definition, but basically I've got curl. If I say curl and then local host 4004 OData v4 bookshop books, for example, I get that. But if I say curl JSON, I get that. Okay, so what I where is that? Which curl JSON? Oh yeah, I put it in my bin directory. Maybe I should move. Let me know if you want this in the Docker container as well. Maybe I should put that in there. So Sudarshan says, oh, thank you for commenting. Yes, attachment says Nazim. Okay, yes. I was thinking of getting some people on to talk about their own plugins that they've written and everything. So maybe we can include that in that. Anyway, Sudarshan says, honestly, this is the first time I'm participating in the Dev Challenge, and all credit goes to this Back to Basics series here. The hints in the task description are quite helpful. Thank you, Sudarshan. Thank you very much. Yes. So if you're not participating in the Dev Challenges, particularly this one this month, for example, get going. What are you waiting for? So let's move that up there. So what we'll do is we'll say list list listening and send that into entr. I should really sort of alias this, shouldn't I, as well? Enter C curl JSON local host 4004 OData v4 books. Oh yeah, no, bookshop books. Now we started looking at an individual book to get the stock value. So let's start where we left off last week, which was, let's just bring up, for example, here 4004. Let's look at the books and just grab, there we go, the player of games, the ID, the GUID of, let's get rid of that, get rid of all the stuff we don't want here. July Developer Challenge, oh, fine, okay, there. And put the ID in. Now we can either put it in brackets there like that. Let's do that, for example. Or, of course, we can use the alternative way of expressing that, which is just to sort of have it as part of the path. Okay, we can do that, right? But what we want to do really is say stock value. Remember, stock value is, if we look at here, what's it called? Main CDS. We define stock value as a bound function. Not as an unbound function, not like total stock, but as a bound function. Therefore, it goes into this actions clause that's stuck on the end of the books, in this case, entity definition here in the service. Okay, so let's just run that now. Let's go back to here and run that. And at the moment, we get 42 because, of course, we ended on a high or on a low. We ended on life, the universe, and everything, the answer to, with saying, well, let's just do the simplest thing that could possibly work. Okay, 42. Now, we also had a look. Yeah, this is where we want to look at the, something else actually. Param, stock ID, actions, functions. Let's go to cap hire. Let's go to cap hire. Actions, implementing actions and functions. And what we saw somewhere, there we go. We saw this last week. This dot on get stock foo, blah, blah, blah. We copied that, didn't we? We copied that here. So we have a reference. And that's right. Yes, it's all coming back to me like a bad dream. We said we'd go and make sure everybody understood what is going on here in this destructuring. So we'll do that first, but to understand where this destructuring comes in and why we need, well, we don't need the destructuring, we can do it a different way. But let's make sure we understand what's in the documentation. So when we read the documentation, we don't think, oh my goodness me, what's that mean? What even mean? And yes, I'll tell you what we'll do. We know, let's just do the equivalent. We'll do the equivalent, but in a code block that we have to use the return, for example, and then there. Oh, by the way, missing what? Hello, what? Oh yes, missing a close bracket. Before I press save, by the way, you can see it's still unsaved, and therefore the cap server is not restarted. Notice, are you thinking, why is the date here? It's so I can just keep an eye on when the request was made, okay? Just to prove to myself that, yeah, this is a request that's just happened now, because it's 8:16, 8:17 now. This is UTC time, so it's 7:17 now. So if I press save, I know that the cap server will restart and something will happen. It's restarting nice and slowly. There we go, perfect, because I'm running containers and blah, 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 and all sorts of things. But now I can look at this and think, oh yeah, that is literally now, you know, a new call, right? That's the reason I've got the date there. So I've just included it in a block here so that we can find out what this is all about. Because given now we've got this on a separate line, we've got a breakpoint there, and we've used debugging before, haven't we? So I suggest, let me know in the comments if you think this is a good idea. I suggest we get a feel for what comes in the request when we make a call to a bound function. Not an unbound function, but a bound function. And therefore, let me just kill that for a second. There we go. Therefore, because what we're going to need to do is figure out, all right, to what book entity is this stock value function bound? Yeah. And obviously the answer is this one with this GUID, right? So let's go slowly and figure out how we get there. So what we'll do is we'll stop the cap server. We'll start the debugger. Is that small? That's a bit small, isn't it? There we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? Start the debugger, and immediately we hit this particular return 42 because, of course, while we've stopped the cap server, we're still running this listen. Still running this listening, which was going to re-invoke the curl command. So the curl command has gone and done the call to the stock values bound function on that particular book, which one is it? The player of games, I think. Yeah, the player of games, 3B1E. Okay. Now, where's the debug console? What we can see here is that the request, basically what we'll find out is the request holds everything that we need. I'm just going to go to make sure everything's okay. Yeah, everything's okay. The request, this is a disadvantage of having only one main screen. I would normally have my sort of, what's it called, Streamlabs and YouTube live streaming thing on a separate monitor, but I haven't got a separate monitor. There we go. So the subscriber. Good morning, Adam. My name is not Adam. My name is DJ or Q Macro. I'm getting ready for the associate certification CAP backend developer. Yes, good work, the subscriber. So what we can do is hover over that in the debugger in VS Code, very nice, and see lots of things here. But sometimes, you know, the sort of hover thing goes away. So I can use this and say right click, add to watch, and then we can see it here. maybe about one bigger. Now, just going back here and putting this in our brain, this on getStock foo, we understand that this is the actual event, right? This is our bound function name. This is the entity to which this called event is bound, foo, or in our case, of course, books. Okay, so we got the stock value bound to books. And then we got this thing here, params. Where does params come in? Well, if we have a look inside of the request, the incoming request, which of course, as we know from having looked at this before, in on handlers, the first argument that's passed is the request, is the incoming request. So we've captured that argument in this parameter called req, which is convention. Request is req and response is res, right? Convention wise. So if we have a look inside of what's inside request, we see all these underscore things. Now, I'll skip over these underscore, all these properties. Let's call them properties for now, whatever. What is the key thing to remember about anything that begins with an underscore in CAP and in many other libraries and frameworks as well? Put in the chat what the underscore here signifies. But if we, while you're putting that in the chat, if we scroll down here, we see all sorts of things. So we can see, for example, query. We can look at that. We can, target. Let's look at target. Rec.target. Okay. So we get bookshop books. Bookshop books is the target. There's the sort of the namespace, the service name underscore books. Rec. What was the other one we were looking at? Query. Query. Rec.query. Okay. Anyway, all sorts of different things. Chanakia says, I think in response to what does the underscore signify, custom parameter, that wasn't the answer I was thinking of. Somebody else put in the chat what the underscore in these things here signifies to us as developers, to us as users of the framework. Remember here, the context is that we're looking into behind the curtain at CAP, into the bowels of CAP to understand what's going on. But now, while somebody else puts on, or maybe Chanaki puts a different answer there, let's have a look at params. Rick.params. Check it out. Now, let me make that one bigger as well, because, we can do that. What do we see here? Rec.params is an array of one value. If we expand that, we can just basically see a little bit more about that array object, right? But we can see that this is an array of values. And this value, 3b1e, is exactly what we're looking for. So that is where we get, where is it? That is where we get the GUI, the ID of the particular entity to which this particular instance of the stock value function is being is called, right? So we can say rec.params and then go for the first one, right? First one, as in the 0th one. And that is what we need in order to go and look that up, to go and do a select with not providing services, with, let's go from here so we know where I'm going from here, with, I can hear echoing here. Is it me echoing? With the select, okay? Where, in the where clause, right? So we'll do that shortly. Okay, so nobody's put in the chat what they think it means. By the way, don't worry about thinking you might get it wrong or anything. I was going to say there's no wrong answers, but we learn by asking questions and providing answers to other questions. Oh, Ulrich says, thank you, Ulrich. Underscore equals naming convention for members of JS object. It's a convention, but it's not, again, what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for, the answer is that anything beginning with, let me just collapse that one and collapse that one so you can see a bit more. Anything beginning with underscore is, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Now I've said this, what's the phrase I'm looking for is sort of, we shouldn't use them. They're private, okay? We shouldn't rely on it. These are sort of inner workings of the mechanism that we're looking at, okay? So it's not public, it's private. It's just a convention. So if we started writing a handler, for example, that relied upon something in rec that was something underscore, we should think again, because that might change. That's basically signifying this is part of the inner workings of the thing that you're using. So do not rely on this because it may change in the future. Okay. You can see the params there. Look, there are the params. That's what we're looking for. And you know, you might think, oh yeah, there it is. I'm just going to go straight to rec underscore params there. Oh yeah, bang, got it. But no, don't do that, because you may get tripped up in the next release of CAP, because they may have changed that internally. That means don't use it, right? Does that make sense? Anyway, okay, so, and we've got the params down here, right? Perfect. Notice, can anybody tell me, this is a very obscure thing. Notice that we can see here in the difference between this one here. It says, oh yeah, it's basically, I mean, this, I guess this is sort of VS Code or a short, maybe it's a node REPL thing, a short way of describing. It's an array with one element in it, and there it is, right? Whereas this params here, what's that I mean? Click to expand. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I click to expand. Who knew? Okay. It says here it's an array. However, did you also see it's not really an array? Because I think that evaluated the params. If we go back again, let's put that. Do that again. Interesting. Add to watch. Requ. There's params, our array. But here, params, that really should say evaluate. Click to evaluate, because it sort of does something. That's a function. Look, it's a function, and there it is. Right? This underscore params equals this, blah, blah, blah. Let's move that across. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, ooh. And what this really... Anyway, yeah. Can anybody tell me why we can get the value, we can evaluate params, rec.params, without, because it's a function. Look, it's a function. But why we don't have to do that, and why actually doing that doesn't work. Put in the chat what you think the reason for that might be. And also remind me in a short while to come back to that if people have answered or not answered, if folks have answered. Right, so why are we talking about this? So Chanakia is on it, like a car bonnet. Chanakia, exactly. So params is a getter. MDN getter setter. I think we've talked about this before, haven't we? Get JavaScript. A getter defers the cost of calculating. Where is it? A getter defers the cost of calculating the value until the value is needed. Okay, if you never need it, you never pay the cost. But basically, you can have where's a simple example? There, you can have an object with a property. You know, there's a property called log with an array as the value of that property. You can also have something called latest, which appears to the outside world as if it's just a normal property. So you can grab it like that. But actually, it's a function. Okay, and so when that latest property is requested, when the evaluation is requested, then the function runs. Okay, that's a really cool way of being able to refer to other values in that instance of that object. Okay, I actually use that in one of the testers in our developer challenge. In fact, digress, whoop, whoop, digression alert. Anyway, tester in the tasks. Where was it? Oh, there we go. In hello. In fact, the Tuesday's task. I'm using a getter to grab stuff from here, name Q macro, but actually in the init function, I set the run anyway. DJ, stop digressing. Anyway, so we now know rec.params is an array, and we want that one. Okay, that's why we have this thing here. So let's bring up node. if we say rec equals, and let's just have fruit, banana, and then also we'll have params, and it's an array, 1, 2, 3, right? If we know that we want that thing there, the second item in an array, in the array which is the value of the params of the incoming req, we can say params, let's ignore the first thing, right? Oh, tell you what, let's have the first one. First, second, third, right? Let's do that. Equals rec. Now, first is 1, second is 2, and third is 3. Okay. Similarly, and this is something that if I wanted the second one, I'd probably do, right? So I'd say here, if I just wanted the second one, I'm not interested in anything else, I could say here, and I think we talked about this before, like underscore, this is another convention of using an underscore in a completely different context. An underscore here means there is a value here, but I don't care what it is. Okay, so I'm just going to assign it to a legitimate but stupid variable name called underscore. So now second is 2. Notice here, this is a Node.js. I think I've seen this before. This is a Node.js REPL thing, because in the REPL, normally if we say Node.js and say a equals 1, and then I put underscore is the, I think again, this is not specific to this. Digression over digression over digression. This is not specific to the Node.js REPL. This I think is quite common in REPLs. Underscore is a convention. Again, why is underscore so conventional? Is a convention again to return the evaluation, the previous, the latest, the most recent value. So if I say hello, that's the most recent value, right? The most recently evaluated thing. Anyway, have I confused the heck out of everybody now? Yeah, there you go. So if we do this, rec here, rec equals 3 there. So if we wanted, and this is almost like an incoming request. So we could say params ID, right? And that will give us equals rec there. That will give us in ID that first thing there, and that is the equivalent of what we're doing here. Here, there, params ID, the first one, to get the first one in this thing here. Okay, right. So let's get rid of that. Let's kill that debug. Let's get rid of that. Let's go back here. In fact, I don't need that. Go back smaller again, slightly bigger. There we go. Perfect. So with that, we know that we can get the GUID to do a select, right? And what are we trying to do? Stock value, right? Select. In fact. Yeah, let's open up on the terminal. Let's get rid of that breakpoint as well. Let's go there and say CDS REPL. Let's make that a little bit smaller there, and say CDS test, which will, actually I should have awaited that, which will start the server up. It'll run on a random port, as we've seen already. Let's get rid of it, to not confuse us, let's get rid of that for now. And now we can say select, in fact, const books, remember this? Books equals cds.entities, books. And now if we look at books, we can see that there's a definition. Remember that this is the definition from the schema level, not from the service level, because if the service level definition, CDS entities, and then give it the namespace, as it were, bookshop, we get something slightly different, I think. Books, we should be able to tell the difference. If there's, there we go, yeah, in fact, let me just make it a bit smaller, just for a second. You can see there's a difference between the schema level definition of the books entity and the service level books definition entity. We can see it's a projection. That's the projection from the service definition. Entity books as projection on, right, etc. Oh, how lovely is that? We also see not only at the service level of the books entity definition, we not only see that it's a projection, but we also see the action, the bound function. The bound function. There it is. Amazing. Never noticed that before. It's quite cool. Okay, so now we can now say select from books. Okay. Oh yeah, we need to await that, of course. Await. But now we know we can grab the GUID. Good day, Andrew, and how are you? Welcome, Andrew. In fact, I was just talking about you. I thought we might, what time is it now? 8:35. 8:35, oh my goodness me. Have a quick look at the request test that you were asking about. So yes, we'll do that later on. Remind me in about 10 minutes, Andrew. Remind me in 10 minutes to look at the request test or something. So if we now say select from books where, and now this thing here, don't need that. Where we can see, look at that. Look, we can do that. There's all sorts of different ways of expressing a where clause. Look at that. We could even say, all right, let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do one of these. Let's do this one as a string, right? Where, and what's the no, not there. Books. Let's go to schema. It's, of course, it's ID. But I could have even looked at the DJ. Come on, get with it. I could have looked at the YAML definition. But look, we can see that the books has an aspect CUID. The aspect is key ID, so it's ID I'm looking for, right? So I could say now, let's put that back up there, where ID equals, right? In fact, let's put that in double quotes. ID equals, and then where's the there? Okay, ID equals that. I mean, that's sort of, amazing in its basicness. Is that the right even phrase? There, we can get that. But what we can also do is say, and this is something, maybe this is slightly nicer. ID equals. Well, we don't have an ID, so let's put that in there. ID equals that, because we're going to have that in our function, aren't we? Once we actually start writing it, so we can now say what ID equals in this string expression thing. I can't remember the technical term for that is. ID equals ID. That seems a little bit neater. Ooh, where ID equals what? ID mismatch. Have I done that wrong? What's going on? Providing so we don't need that anymore. ID equals. No, that's all right. ID equals. What have I not done? Backtag, backtick, back. Oh, Matthias is on it. What have I not done there? I've got the backticks. I thought I had the backtick. Where ID equals. Let's just put that in there for a second like that. Okay. And now, have I got ID? ID, yeah, it's there. So let's try that again. What did I do before? ID equals ID. That's interesting. Echo, no, not echo, what's it called? Console.log. ID equals ID. Let's just, of course. Of course. That's interesting. What I'm missing is, of course, because we're still constructing a query string. So what I need there is to put the evaluation of the ID variable through this expression thing here in the quotes. There we go. Was that in the example? You know what? I think there's a bug in the documentation. Maybe it's just me. Let's just try that. ID, let's just paste that in. There, let's do that. Await select dot from books. Where I'm going to do this because I just love doing it because it's just so crazy good, right? With spaces. Where, let's put that in the backticks there, right? And of course that's not going to work because we don't have rec data ID. So we say rec equals data ID. My goodness me, this is digressing so crazily, but it's all right. I think we're learning. We're all learning together here, aren't we? There. That's it. So rec.data. Damn. ID. We've got that, so we can do that now, can't we? But is this going to work? Is this going to work? So I will send a modification to that. In fact, yes, I'll send a modification to that now. Well, not now, but after the live stream. So that should have single quotes or some quotes around that thing, shouldn't it? Oh, amazing. So, hello Nassim. How do you use an external terminal? Not the one in VS Code. I'm using Windows OS, but haven't been able to do that. When you say an external terminal, external to what, Nassim? Let me know what you mean. I mean, in VS Code, of course, you get the ability to sort of open a local, what I'm doing here, a terminal local to the machine. Now, I can't comment on your situation because I don't work on Windows, but I'm pretty sure VS Code will offer different terminal contexts. For example, command prompt or PowerShell if you're that way inclined. And depending on whether you're running with Cygwin there or maybe Windows subsystem for Linux, WSL, you get different types of terminals available to you according to the Linux subsystem that you're using there. I don't know. But basically I'm on, so I've just seen Matthias's comment here. Use dev container. So yes, sorry, thank you Matthias for keeping me on the straight and narrow. What I'm doing here in VS Code that's running on my machine here, which is Mac OS, you can see there the little Apple thing. But I'm using cat. In fact, let me just open up another terminal. I'm using a Linux terminal, right? Because Linux is, the one true operating system, obviously, for PCs. And anyway, but I'm using a dev container. So if you watch episode 1 of this series, you'll find out how to set up the dev container. In fact, cat B2B, I'll put this in the, put there because we're going to be referring to it. I've referred to it now. How do I do this? Edit. Oh, I hate that pop-up. There we go. And there, first episode with dev container details. Series GitHub repo. There. You go there, Nassim. You can check out that, and that will give you a proper shell. You can do it. You can use a bash shell, right? The one true shell. So I hope that helps. Additionally, in part 11, you used your YQ, and I haven't been able to use that either. Well, you need to install it. I think. I'm not sure have I got YQ installed here or not. No, I haven't got YQ installed, but I've used YQ before. Let's just open up another terminal. I use YQ a lot. There's YQ. So we just install it, for your operating system. Dev containers. Put it in a dev container. That's the best thing. So Chanakia says single quote. Mikolai, good morning, Mikolai. I think it might work without function brackets. Yes. Sorry. Thank you for bringing back on track, Nikolai. Mikolai, sorry. So that's that. There's a different way. I like this, right? I like this query by expression. I think that's what by example. Sorry, I think that's what that means. Query by example. Yeah, I guess so. And text to speech, or I don't even know. Oh, tag template string, not text to speech. Tag template string there. So we can also do this, which is a lot nicer, I think. So this is what I was trying to get to. So we can now say here. I don't like when VS Code does that. We can also say here. We can have ID as a sort of an object, ID, and then rec.data.id. That works as well. Okay. Oh my God. In the docu, there are no brackets. Brackets where? HP, good morning to you, HP. No brackets where exactly in the doc? Put where you mean in the doc. Thank you, HP. Fantastic. And welcome. So let's do that. Right, but then what we want to do, getting back to remembering what we're trying to do, which is stock value. We're saying stock value is basically stock times price. So why don't we add a clause here? Columns. I can never remember. let's do this, right? I wonder if we can do this. Await, and then dot. No, we can't. Select. Ah, wait a minute. Ah, come on, DJ. We did before. Object.keys select. We can see we can do that. Dot from. Dot where? From where? Oh no, local. Ah, anyway, yeah. No, anyway. Select box where. From books. Select columns. Yeah, columns. Stock. Price, and I think we can also put those in, you know, as in an array. I think we have to put them in an array. Do we? Stock price. Array. What am I doing, DJ? Come on! I'm just making things up. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. There we go. Stock price. Okay. But what we can also do. HP in the docu there on. Oh, sorry, I've read that already. In the document there are no brackets. Sorry. We can also say, I'm sure we should put that in the string as well. We've done that before. Stock price. Oh, sorry. Mismatch expecting from books already. I thought we could do it in. Anyway, let's go back to the column. This thing for now. Stock price, and then how about stock times price? Oh, of course, yeah, I have to have an alias as stock value. Check it out. I believe HP is referring to no brackets after where in the TTS example. So Darshan, thank you for that. After where in the TTS, where? Ah, yes, it's got no brackets. Ah, interesting. Oh yeah, we should try that. Well done, HP. He's got super sharp eyes. He picked up something last week as well. It's brilliant. So let's just try that. Select where. Which one was it in the text? Let's call it text to speech from now on. ID equals that. There. Let's try that. That's. Ah, of course, that is the string. How weird. So that works, but that doesn't. That is super interesting. Why does? Can anybody tell me why that works? Oh, what's going on there? Why that works? But why, when you put it in brackets, it doesn't work? That's interesting. I'll dig into that and find out, because my brain's not working at the moment. Anyway, let's try and get to the end of this thing here. What are we trying to do? Oh, stop. Yes, there we go. So if we now, let's just get back on the straight and narrow. Let's go back here and say, await, select columns. Well, we'll just do one, shall we? Columns, stock times price as stock. I think I'll use the same sort of camel case type thing there. From books, because we've got books defined up here, haven't we? There, books there. From books, where, and we'll use that thing there. ID. What was the thing? ID equals. There we go. Yeah, ID equals. Oh, sorry, yes, where ID equals, and now what do we want to put in there, right? What do we want to put in there? We want to add this thing here, params ID. Okay, because don't forget, the request is captured and destructured by this expression. Now we understand, hopefully we understand what's going on there. Params ID, ID. And then why is this squiggly underlined? Because I think it's going to tell us about the unexpected token. Oh, I know. I think async There we go. It needs to be an async after await. If we're going to use await, it needs to be an asynchronous function. Where ID, where ID, we don't need that square bracket there. From await, select columns from books, where ID. There we go. We don't need that either. Perfect. And then we'll say here, well, it's actually, yeah, return. Let's just go for it. Return. In fact, await result equals await. Sorry, result const. Result equals that. Let's log it first. Log a result and just return 42 for now. Right? Let's do that. Let's see what happens. Okay, CDS watch and open up here, and we'll do. Have I got that there? There we go. Try that. Okay, we get the 42, right? And in the logger result, we get, what do we get? Do we get anything at all? Logger result, set columns, I can't see any result. Get logger result. Have we got logger going there? What's going on? Logger, total stock. Why is that total stock like that? Oh, anyway. Logger, let's just see if we get that. Oh, there we go, it's working. Ah, I haven't saved it. Okay, fine. Save that. Okay, fine. Stock value. So we can actually say return, return result dot stock value. What? Return result dot stock value? Is that right? Oh no! Ah! What's the thing I've missed? Look, check it out. Brackets are our friend. We don't get an object back from this select. We get an array. So we want, we can do one of many things, right? We can either say here, result stock value, 150. Or, of course, we can just say, I think we did this the other day, 1. And then, of course, it's not an array. So we're going to have an error there. There, save that. We want 1. We want 1. Result. Stock value. What's going on now? Come on, DJ. Cannot read properties of undefined. From what? 1. Oh, See, I've broken my rule of new lines. This should be on a new line as well, so I can see where the first one is. There we go. That's better. 150. There we go. Okay. Andrew, hello, we want 1. But also, I just remembered, you didn't remind me about the request test. So why don't we it's just less than 7 minutes to go. We've got the stock value. We've implemented that. I think I over-egged it on the digressions and the random things there. But well done, HP, for pointing out that works because there's no brackets. I don't know why it works because there's no brackets. We'll find out. I was in a flow. I was in something. Right, so let's just draw a line under that. Oh, look at that half-eaten mini, what's it called? Cinnamon thing. Squashed as well. So, last bit. Tasks. Get rid of that. There we go. So, what we've got, what I use for testing in the context of the developer challenge is this thing called, where is it? Let me go back to the sample. I'm sort of running along. I've got a candidate here, which is all of the answers, obviously. Sugar, that explains it. It does. Sugar and caffeine. But I've also got this sample, which is basically keeping up with where you are on the tasks. So at the moment, I've implemented these two things, right? Ping, hello, and sum and sum. And there's the implementation. Quite simple, right? Now, in here, I've got this testing remote. I've also got a local testing thing. Let me show you the local testing thing for a second. The local testing in the candidate area is where I use bats the sort of the bash automated testing, and I just use curl commands to do all the things. So I can do that. I can actually start this server. Oh, let's not even go there. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that, and say here, where are we? Sample, testing remote. I've got my request test, so I can start a local tester, but we'll also use the main tester. In fact, we'll also use the main tester, right? Declare tester service base. Tester service base defaults to here, okay? And then it's going to assume a local service running on 800, my service, okay? So let's do that first of all. So I'll say here in my sample, port equals 8000 CDS watch, okay? And then put my head down the bottom there. In fact, let me just swap those over. There we go, that's better. Don't need to see that. So now I can say remote testing remote request test, and it gives me the example. So I can say here Q macro, my community ID, and then the path of the service endpoint. So it's, you know, the default path is localhost 8000, right? And then the tester service. Okay, so what's going to happen when I default the tester service to where it is? It's not going to be able to reach this localhost, but it doesn't matter. It's a basic ping. We're going to get error calling service endpoint because of course, am I logged in still? If I'm not logged in, oh no, it's 56. No, you'll see that. In fact, no, let's do it. CF login. See behind the scenes. CF logs recent tester serve. You'll see probably an error there. There we go. There's the error. It just happened then. Local host there. Base URL localhost. That's me. That was me. It's saying, oh, I can't reach it because of course the tester service in the cloud is trying to reach localhost, but it can't. So I can go back to here. I could of course use ngrok to expose it and everything, but yeah, in fact, let's do that now. Ngrok. Let's do that there. There ngrok HTTP 8000, and now I can grab that URL there, app, and then I can say here export test candidate server base equals that with 2 P's, and now I can run that thing again, and what? Candidate server base ngrok. Why did that not work? Testing server test key macro basic ping. Error calling service endpoint. Did I not? Candidate server base ngrok. Ah, what? Can I not get there? Oh, did I not do that right? Free.app server base should be all right. There, endpoint. Interesting. Let's try that again. Let's have a look at that. 3. Let's do that one more time. I don't know what's going on there. 2. Basic ping. Right, let's have a look. Don't you just love JSON in logs? DJ and 3 tier. Let's just do a basic. Oh, you're still using localhost. Let's look for app. No, that ngrok thing. Okay, so it is something to do with that there. Hold on. Env. Oh. Echo candidate. Oh, it's not even. Oh yeah, candidate server base. Request test. Let's have a, what else have I missed here? Request test, tester service base. That's fine. Candidate service. Oh, DJ, you idiot! It's not candidate server base. It's candidate service based. I can't even use my own programs. Service base. Now, request test. Request test. Run it. Will it work? Yes. Okay, I just got the environment variable name wrong. And now I can actually do this, right? I can say testing remote go, and it will run all of the tests for me. Pass, 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 and then obviously the other ones will fail because I've not implemented it yet. Null, because we get an errors, etc., etc. So there we go. So I'll share that. I'll share that online on the blog post, probably, Andrew. And also, did you know, I'll leave you with one really cool thing. The way that CAP makes calls to, for example, function imports in an OData service is it uses these positional parameters. Check it out. That's all part of the OData spec. It's beautiful. Right. Anyway, with that bombshell, I'll leave you and see you next week. Next week might be the last one before the summer break. I'm not sure. Number 20. But anyway, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend and see you next week. Bye.